out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California has won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClelland Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Called Feeding the Ducks. You know, it's just kind of pretty good vibe here on a Friday. Join us in our McClelland Chiropractic chat room. Good morning. See folks in there already. Good morning, Prometheus. Good morning, Steve. That's correct. Radford ladies are playing Georgia Tech in hot Atlanta tonight. They have back-to-back ACC games opening it up. They actually led at Wake Forest to open up the season on Monday and dropped that game by 4. Dropped that game. They led by 4 in the fourth, and then they ended up losing that game. So now they have Georgia Tech tonight. What day did I say? Friday? I'm sorry. Wishful thinking. Sorry. Lots of drugs. Lots and lots of drugs. Thursday. My mind is on Friday. That's where my mind is. Good morning, Swish. How are you doing? Good to see you. Hey, TP. Good morning. Good morning, dear. Morning, dear. By the way, this is going to be an unpopular opinion. But the two things on Andy Griffith that they played a lot that I hated, I didn't like the Darlings at all. Now, I love Denver Pyle as Uncle Jesse, but not as Briscoe Darling. Uncle Jesse on the Dukes of Hazzard. TV says, scare me. I thought I missed today. Sorry. I was hoping I had, and today was actually Friday. So I didn't like Briscoe Darling at all. Yeah, big fan of Otis, Pat. Yeah. Absolutely. Big fan of Otis. Not a fan of the Darlings. Didn't like that whole thing in any way, shape, or form. And why is it escaping me? Who was the crazy guy? Like I picked the wrong week to stop amphetamines. I love that movie, man. The original Airplane. It holds up. You can watch it and watch it and watch it, and all you get is belly laughs. Ernest T. Bass. Did not like Ernest T. Bass. Annoying. You just wanted to punch him in the throat. It wasn't one episode of Ernest T. Bass that I enjoyed. But he was actually a writer or producer. He did something on the show, the guy who played him. But I could not like that character. And they did him a lot, man. You ever seen? And the subtle humor of Airplane when they were called stewardesses then, you know, the love interest. Hello, do you know if there's a doctor on board? Ma'am, the gentleman beside me is a doctor. And Leslie Nielsen's got the stethoscope on. Yes, I'm a doctor. Man. No, they won't miss out on Chesley talking about Tech football because he also has Sexton. Sexton's just trying to get as much money as he can, so he doesn't care. Jason says he did. He produced, and directed. I knew he had something to do with it. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate that. Jason Green, Family Fencing, by the way, sponsor of our studio. I didn't like the Fun Girls. Yeah, I didn't either. Hey, Bernie. Hey, da. Terrible. It's just terrible. Otis, right? Was Otis the only person married on the show? Is that right? The drunk? He was married, wasn't he? Or was he not? I thought Otis was married. Come on, Ricky. If you got time to breathe, got time for music. I know I don't have time to. I can't play it, though. Thunder. I'd love to. I'd get in a lot of trouble. Troy says, be careful, Rivers. He might throw a rock through your window. Hey, Opal, good morning. It was Joseph. Okay. Can you guys give me any information on UFOs? They're a hoax. They're a hoax. Yeah, Otis was married. I thought he was. Did we ever meet Otis's wife? Did that ever happen? Or did he just kind of talk about her in the distance? Can't remember. Pat says, I hate it on B. They did meet her in one episode. No, Jim Neighbors could not. But you know, Gomer had some good moments on that show. He did. Gomer had some good moments. He did. When his brother came to town and Otis was a deputy. Okay. Thanks, Jason. All right. See wow. I'll tell you what, the educational value of people in Andy Griffith show. It's awesome. And I tell you, I loved to hear Rafe Hollister sing too. I'll tell you that. Remember Rafe Hollister, the farmer, had the overalls? Look down, look down. Dude had some pipes, man. The oldest one acted like he was a policeman. Did he really? Still want somebody to tell me, other than I know they were having a relationship in real life, why in the world Helen Crump ended up being the gal for Andy. Remember, too, when they, back then it was such a different world. Then I'm really now convinced a much better world in a lot of ways. Not in every way, but in a lot of ways. But Andy smoked a lot. He was a chain smoker. And you watch how many episodes you see Andy's character smoking. He just, calmed him down during the set. Jason, I stopped watching when Barney left. When they went to the color episodes and when Don Knotts left, to me, that ended the show. I've seen some of the color ones, like Opie's annoying when he gets older. Opie's not the same. Then he's just like a young Richie Cunningham. Yeah, that's a tough watch. Some shows get it absolutely right when they replace main characters. Some of them do. But Andy Griffith got it completely wrong. Like, Goober's annoying. Howard was annoying. Yeah, the color ones do suck. Those are terrible episodes. There's nothing tangible about the color episodes. But that show died. For me, it died when Don Knotts left. Remember MASH? MASH always got it right. MASH lost a bunch of characters, but they always replaced them with really good characters that were the total opposite of who had played that role before. Brilliant. The Rifleman, is that Chuck Connors Prometheus? Is that right? I remember The Rifleman growing up. I remember my dad used to watch it. I was really, really small, but I remember it being on TV. You're right, Jason. Never made another show like it. You're right. You're right, man. Nothing kind of hits you in the calm. Just kind of, it's the comfort food of those old reruns. And no matter how many times you've seen them, you just keep watching. All right? That show was educational. Who knew Roscoe P. Coltrane could play the guitar? I know, right? Was it Jim? It was Jim, wasn't it? But you notice they never showed Jim like with his hands playing up close because he wasn't really playing. They always had him like, yeah. And remember, he came back. He was all cocky and he lost all of his money. And Andy had to teach him yet another life lesson. But again, they had it right the first time. Miss Ellie should have been the forever girl, but they put her in a lead role. I think it was Father Knows Best. So she left Andy Griffith. Plus, Andy didn't like the fact, I think, that she was gaining a lot of popularity quickly. Yeah, Bill Bixby was in that role. You know, it would have been cool if they would have premeditated the whole Hulk thing and he kind of hulked out back in the 60s. Wasn't Bill Bixby either a prisoner or a reformed somebody? I remember that episode. Yeah, Chuck Connors. Thanks, Prometheus. Thanks, Jimmy. But Ms. Ellie, Peggy, I know she was rich, but yeah, she had it going on, man. And then Mary, the nurse, in that order. Barbara Eden was the lady manicurist, too. Remember that episode? Oh, he was the rich kid. Okay, thank you. Bratty college student. Thank you, Paul. And okay, you're right. You're right. But yeah, Barbara Eden was on there as the lady manicurist. So they did everything by lady. Ellie was the lady druggist. That's the episode, too, where Andy, when Barbara Eden's on there, and he's like, they have this scene when they're watching her walk away, and he goes, "No, sir, that is definitely not a boy." Yeah, Connors was a great athlete. Megabond, don't forget Petticoat Junction. When you're riding on the train, there's something heading around the track to the junction. Petticoat Junction. Petticoat Junction was kind of risque for what it was, right? The things that it was teasing. I remember Petticoat Junction. Oh, yeah. Jack Nicholson was in an episode? Really? Oh, yeah, that's right. If I get you out of your uniform, deputy, I'm going to get my $4 worth. By the way, that guy, I can't remember the actor's name, he ended up being Alice's boyfriend. He was the butcher in Brady Bunch. Can't remember the guy's name. That's the episode when Barney was taking judo lessons and Andy went to go see the judo teacher. What size suit do you wear? Great episode. Can't have that anymore. Americana, it doesn't exist. Sam. Yeah, Mike always says, hey to Goober. Goober says, hey. You could get Mike going off about Andy Griffith, too. We could do a whole episode on it. But anyway, I went down the rabbit hole, didn't I? But, hey, look at chat. The McClelland Chiropractic chat room's exploding. People, because, see, we all relate and love Andy Griffith. I mentioned family fencing, Jason Green. Wintertime stuff is going to happen. I think I'm getting the new read today, Jason. 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrb.com. Let them give you a quote. McClelland Chiropractic, sponsor of our chat room, Mark Hunley. Good morning, Mark, if you're watching. That's right, Opal. Peggy was married to Ryan O'Neal in real life. Tatum O'Neal's mom. Hey, Chris Lester, good morning. Good morning, brother. How are you, man? Professional Door text line. Nothing new on the James Franklin front, just to answer all the questions. Still, though, a high percentage on our BDST fan question of the week. You don't care. You just want James Franklin. 540-391-078. Go see Travis. Listen, if you want a job opportunity and a career, go see Professional Door. If you don't mind working, and you'll get trained and you will be taken care of, $20 an hour to start. They need quality workers. Go see them. Great announcement by our presenting sponsor, Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. The Pulaski County Motorsports Park is opening again. We're going to have full racing, drag racing next summer. Awesome. Congratulations, Jonathan Sweet. I told you, the moving and shaking is just getting started. So awesome. So proud to be associated with them. Charles Lee, Little River Heating and Air, 540-553-2971. Ryan Pry, by the way, the attorney, sponsors our BDST fan question of the week. 701 West Main Street. And about 65% of you still want James Franklin regardless. Right? 65%. Thanks to National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST. And if you're trying to raise money for your high school team, whatever it might be, check out ReadySetFund.com. Reach out to Bob Christ. He is Dave Christ's brother, former Blacksburg legendary Hall of Fame coach. BobChrist11@gmail.com. BOBCRIST. Floyd County High School raised $4,000 through the Ready Set Fund for their softball team. So go give those guys a look and listen. Go get your next vehicle at Harvey's GM in Radford. Lawson's Mobile Home since 1997, 300 North Franklin Street. Give James a call, 540-381-8011. And everybody should boogie bowl or go bowling. Call the NRB Super Bowl 382-5525 to reserve your lane now. Good morning, Roddy. Hey, Roddy, I think I'm picking up the shirts here today. It was a great Monday Night Football game. The Cowboys lost. Yeah, and let's get to that. The ratings are a concern, wouldn't you say? Ratings were down, average of somewhere I saw 3 to 4 million, depending on it. NFL is not going to stand for that. This whole impasse that was created, I'm going to write about it this week in the Patriot. This whole streaming wars that is completely contrived because ESPN and Disney want you to buy all their stuff. They took it off of their most popular outside streaming outlet, YouTube TV, to try to get people, force people, and people are fighting back. People are not doing it. Yeah, you missed it, Wayne. I don't know where you were, but you missed the whole Andy Griffith discussion. We have some of the most educated Andy Griffith people. It's awesome. By the way, are we all in agreement that Miss Ellie should have been the permanent relationship interest for Andy? Are we all in agreement that it should have been Miss Ellie the whole time? So the NFL now found out. Yeah, and Jason told us, I got to look that. I'll look it up later. That's cool. Jack Nicholson was on an Andy Griffith episode. He must have, was it just kind of in the background? Was that like one of the first things, Jason, or did he actually have a speaking role? That's pretty cool. That's good trivia to know. Yeah, I'm going to go get the T-shirts from Brandon today. Jimmy says you can still go with Mary. Well, that's a fine choice. Mary wasn't on there enough. I think she was on there a couple episodes. Opal votes for Peggy. Yeah, she was beautiful, and she was feisty. He was in the entire episode, but only one episode. Okay, was that a black and white episode or a color episode? I'm guessing that was later. Was that later? I mean, Jason's going to be my guy here when I have an Andy Griffith question. He is. Going to be my guy. Andy Bitter, Bill Roth, and Dwight Vick today. We'll get the latest. Andy was making the rounds yesterday. I saw people were quoting him. He was on some other podcast saying that the Franklin deal was close. Now, I've been told the complete opposite of that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It was a black and white episode. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's Barbara Eden. Yeah, Barbara Eden, who played Jeannie in I Dream of Jeannie. And as a matter of fact, I want to say that may have gotten her a heads up on that role when she auditioned, because that show was created about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years after Andy Griffith started, right? Troy says he played a defendant in a trial where Aunt B was on a jury. It was a color episode. Yeah, I figured it had to be a color episode because I did not remember him on a black and white episode. Oh, really? Is that right? Funny Guy says the first Jack Nicholson appearance was Little Shop of Horrors. Really? The original? That's cool. A Roger Corman movie. Thanks, Funny Guy. That's awesome. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for everything you contributed. That was awesome. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, Rodney, you've already been over that. I did not like Ernest T. I just wanted to go and just wail on him. I hated that guy. I hated that character. So annoying. Joseph says, shocked that no schools have named a head coach yet. What's going on? Because they're all in the same boat. They can't, because I think most of the interest is in guys who currently have jobs. Now, you could go out Franklin, but he's trying, we believe from my sources, that Franklin is kicking the doors on other opportunities. So we'll see. Yeah, there's no way they're getting Franklin. Yeah, I agree for me. They're not getting him for it in the $8 million range. It's going to be about $12 million if they end up getting Franklin. But if I'm sitting around and I'm Virginia Tech as well at this point, I think I want to. If he's slow playing Tech, then Tech should say, "All right, well, we're gonna set up and we're gonna talk and we're gonna try to set up other things with other folks." Again, Tech doesn't have to rush this just because. Where did my comments go? There they are. Tech doesn't have to rush this just because he's not the only coaching candidate. He's just not. He's just not. And I'm going to die on the hill, too, that you better make sure that he's the right fit for this community in this area and not just fall in love with, the accolades and what he's done. Again, go back to what Phil Almasian said. Boy, how good of a show was yesterday. I mean, what a great week of shows. I do say so myself. It has nothing to do with me. But, we had Almasian, Mike Young, and Todd Grantham yesterday. As long as he doesn't have a job, but he's looking, Wayne, he gets the entire $50 million. So maybe this is just him really letting them know he's looking for a job. I do not believe they get full credit. I do not believe they do. Probably half credit. Be my guess if he lands somewhere else. But in his case, he's getting, Again, it comes down to how much money do you need? People that keep talking, and maybe they're right. Maybe everything is just based on money. That Sexton's out there trying to squeeze every dollar. Again, how much money do you need? At some point, your candidate, your client tells you, this is where I want to be, and then you make it happen. Yeah, I'll ask Andy. That question. Yeah. Tech insiders believe a deal is done. It's not what I'm being told from people in coaching, but we'll see. We'll see. And why the 17th, if not today? Like, what's going to change between now and the 17th? Hokey Rocks, I think he's been offered a job like this and he can't go back now. You know, I don't know. Big Ten guy makes a good point. He said just because Tech has discussed things with Franklin and Sexton, and just because they may have said, this is what we have, this is our offer, this is what it would look like, he makes a good point. And this is what people get wrong. And I'm not saying this is the case, but he said, you can't assume that Tech has offered him the job. And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, discussing things about the job and saying this is where this is. Doesn't mean that Tech has said, we want you to come, boom. We're offering you the job. I was told that's not what that means. What it could mean is you're just having discussions. Here's the parameters. We like you. But he goes, don't rule out Virginia Tech being able to say, okay, well, you wanted to slow play this. Well, there's some other people we want to talk to. And I agree. Now, I've talked with Coach Elmation. He said he doesn't mind when I put his text up or talk about his text. I've heard the same thing, and so is he. I have heard James Franklin is waiting on the Florida State situation. And I've heard that from multiple people in Power 4. It's an easier track. Lane Kiffin's looking at it too. It's an easier track to the playoff. Is no longer. It's about being part of the national playoff. But I think what we've assumed, because I'm learning this as we go, I have no idea, right? These are strange times. That negotiations, conversations, interviews, going over things with Jimmy Sexton doesn't mean that he's been formally offered the job. As a matter of fact, if Sexton and Franklin told Tech that they don't want to do this right now, why would Tech officially offer that job when they haven't spoken to anybody else? That's not good business. But then again, leaving the AD over who put football in this situation, leaving him around the athletic department is not good business either. So that's kind of where we are on all this. But here's the key. Nobody knows the time frame. Nobody knows what has officially been discussed. Nobody knows about any kind of actual on-paper offer, right? People are just assuming, and I have been as well, but it's interesting to me to learn as much as I've learned through this process. It's been cool to actually, you're kind of taking a step inside, but you're not. Florida State job is very attractive for a lot of reasons, and I'll tell you why, and this is what my Big Ten source told me. He said, Florida State's the one school outside of the SEC that if you get the right guy in there, right, with the money and everything, the backing that they have, that they get SEC players. In other words, guys who might be considered an SSU, you get the right coach in there, you can get an SEC talent level at Florida State in the ACC, and they're really the only school that can do that. And these coaches know that. Hokey Bob, Franklin is still on the car lot kicking tires. Yeah, it feels that way. But, you know, Tech should be on the car lot too. And I think they're going to be. I think they're more – I think Tech is more in control of this than we've been led to believe. I don't think they're sitting around as a little helpless entity over there. I don't think Bruce Arians and Bud Foster are going to be played that way. You know Bud Foster. You think that guy's going to sit around and just pine away for one candidate? You think he's going to feel like we don't get James Franklin, Virginia Tech can't have a successful coaching search? No. So people can speculate and they can say it's close and they're not, but I don't think anybody has any real insight to say this is about to happen because I'm told that that's not the case. We'll see what Andy's got. He was on, I don't know what podcast he was on, but I think he said it was very close to happening. But he was all over X yesterday. Andy was. So we'll find out what he knows, who he's talked to. And then, did I show you this? Who was it? So you get all this where it is close, right? But how much do I love the fact that ESPN's ratings are tanking because they took their games off of YouTube TV. That really, really makes me happy. I think people are understanding that they can live without it. I don't know. There was somebody on here yesterday. I don't know who it was. I did not save it. A gentleman on X said that Jimmy Sexton got into a shouting match with members of the committee. No, Florida State is not in a bad situation money-wise. Yes, it is, Joe. The coaching carousel's completely insane. Anybody who is trying to say that schools don't have money are completely uneducated. They try to put that out there, but their actions speak louder than words. Remember, FSU wanted to raise all the money when they wanted to get out and forego the rights deal in the ACC. Chauncey Billups, what he says is betting. We will know something by December the 1st. Joe Rogers, thanks, Hokey Rocks. I couldn't remember the name. You the man. Yeah, I saw it. I don't even know who the hell Joe Rogers is. Let me find Joe Rogers here. Good Lord, it doesn't even come up. Who is Joe Rogers? Which one is he? I don't know. Anyway, he tried to claim that Sexton got into a bad shouting match with members of the committee. Jimmy Sexton doesn't talk to committee members. He's not sitting there like on a Zoom with all 8 committee members and that's not what he's doing. He's dealing with Whit more than anything because Whit's still there but he's not, just things that don't make any sense. But yet people are going to eat it up. Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that, Sexton? How would he even get that information? You think people on the committee are going around, would you hear that? James Franklin yelled at us. Yeah, it keeps you guessing. It's 50-50. Half his stuff is true, other half's not. I'm guessing that's not true. That there hasn't been a shouting match. Why would there be a shouting match? Anything for clicks. That's what I've tried to avoid through all this. Look, at this point, if it happens with what Tech has put into it, that's great. They're going to get a guy who fans are going to be excited about. He'll turn over the talent level year one. Will he make them ACC contenders? We'll see. How does he slide in and fit in? That's great. If it ends up not being him and he goes somewhere else and because he felt like this place wasn't for him, then you just have to swallow hard if your heart's set on him and look elsewhere. And I'm going to maintain that Virginia Tech is a really good job and they're going to find a good coach. Wayne says Rogers is half parody. He has been posting bald people and saying they're Franklin in town. Okay, well, that's kind of what I thought. So in other words, he was probably posting that in jest, right? Just to see if people would run with it. There's a lot of accounts like that. There's a lot of accounts like that. Somebody posted one where somebody in like an ER, he came here to get his physical. You're like, you have to have a physical to be a head coach. And that made the rounds. I think it's just people are having fun on X. I saw that too. So no, I don't believe any of that's true. I do not. Nor do I think a deal is imminent. But we'll see what Andy says. See what he's got. It's still, I mean, I know Tech is. Here's another mistake that I think Tech has made. And see if you follow my logic on this. They made a very aggressive move. Here's the thing. All right. So, what week are we in now? We got 3 games left, right? Uh-oh. Hang on. There we go. I froze up there for a second. There are 3 games left. Tech fired Brent Pry after the 3rd game, right? They were very, very aggressive. Very, very aggressive. So they had a very aggressive move to start this whole process. So you were very aggressive from the onset, and you did all that. But you've kind of been very passive since then. You didn't do anything with Witt. That's a passive move. Look, the only reason he's there is because of the personal relationship that he has with Sands. Let's just say it the way it is. That's the only reason. Are we good to go in chat, by the way? I had a little freeze up there here. You may not have seen it, but I saw it on my end. There we go. Oh, the testing works, so that's good. So they were aggressive on one end, and then they weren't aggressive on the other. And now here we are 3 games away from the season, and really all the speculation since all this happened has gone through James Franklin. So it feels like they've taken a more passive stance after being very aggressive. Because if you're letting your coach go in week 3, that's a very aggressive thing. What good did it do? You know, what good did it do? Philip Montgomery has come in. He's won a couple of games. I say a couple of games because I still don't think that the football game against Wofford counts. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I just know I've grown very tired of this process. Haven't you grown tired of the process? The process seems to be at the point of just, Yeah. Monty is better. Monty's done a great job, man. He really has. I mean, I know, and I brought it up right after it happened, and at the time, people were shooting that down, but I think people have to be very excited. Blacksburg is like old school Jersey. Witt, Slim, Babcock. But you get my point. They made a very aggressive move, and they've been very passive since. They had everything structured to sign the NDA, so no information's coming out. That's why all these people who claim they have all this information. I mean, if the committee who signed those things are going around talking to people, even out in the community, that's violating that agreement that they have. It's not real. So that's why I'm very sketchy when I hear people say, yeah, I talked to somebody from the committee. Really? Not going to tell you who. Where's Balboa Creed? He's racing up the field. Oh, no. He's out somewhere now. It could be him. He will jump out of here. I have the trash can right outside the door here to the downstairs, and he will jump up and he sticks his head around the corner like, all right, let me in. I'm ready. I'm done. So, yeah, we may have to at some point get up and go get him. Thanks for it was good yesterday. Thanks, people on the professional door text line. That was great. It's great when guys like Mike Young just stop by your show. I said, yeah, well, that was something I'd been working on, and it I didn't know where it was, right? So I said, okay, all right. And then they called and said, hey, coach is ready to come on today. I said, okay, let's go. So, yeah, it worked out. It's kind of cool. Yeah, Montgomery he'll get an opportunity. I don't know whether he'll be a head coach. Maybe he'd go to some group of 5 team that is going to lose their coach to a Power 4. That would make sense. FSU will pay Franklin a lot more than Virginia Tech would pay Franklin. Because I've got 2 words for the whole Florida State money, the Seminole Casino. Look it up. Florida State is not hurting for money. The reason they backed off, you remember they were trying to get out of the ACC and blah blah blah, and they've been raising money since then. And the casino has a big play owned by the Seminole tribes. Yeah. How many offers do I think Chesney will get? I think there are a lot of people going to sniff around Bob Chesney's situation. Yeah. I hope he gets a lot. Yeah, NRB Thunder, I kind of heard Arkansas had jumped into the Franklin picture too. I haven't brought that to the table because I don't bring everything. I hear certain things, but I've heard the Arkansas job is one that he might deem as attractive too, being where it is in the SEC, being a different type of pressure, although pressure nonetheless. And that's right, Wayne. And what the 5 stars, there are a lot of athletes who would go to the SEC. And Franklin and all these coaches know that. Lane Kiffin knows that. I'm still going to say it at some point when they fire Mike Norvell, and who knows, maybe Virginia Tech beats them next weekend. But at this point, they said they were going to keep him. They're going to keep him. And I don't think that's a wrong move at all. But, yeah, it's true. I mean, Arkansas, can they win a natty? I don't know. I mean, did anybody ever think Indiana football would be capable of winning a national championship? Yet here they are, the number 2 team in the rankings. Amazing. Just absolutely amazing. You get the right coach, the right momentum, it can happen. I don't know if we pay enough attention. I don't know if we give enough credence to what Cignetti is doing at Indiana. One of the cesspools of college football for years. As part of the Big Ten, collecting all that money, kind of like Vanderbilt in the SEC for years until they got Clark Lee and Diego Pavi and Jerry Kill, right? Well, Indiana's in the same boat. Before they got in Cignetti and his staff, they were just doing the same thing, treading water. I mean, Arkansas was a lot more nationally prominent, 70s and the 80s and all that. But, yeah, it's tough. SEC, it's tough. I mean, you think about all the schools there. How many of those schools in the SEC legitimately, though, not what they think, but who legitimately in the SEC has a shot at a national title year in, year out. Georgia, Alabama. I'm talking year in, year out. LSU, if they get the right person, but now that whole thing is so strange. I don't know what all that's going to mean going forward. So just tell me, what do we got? What do we got? What do you think? Wayne says FSU provides money, facilities, weather, and built-in 5-star. It's hard to beat them. The pressure is their one negative. They haven't really, I mean, Jimbo got him a title. Then he lost control of that program. Jimbo got him a title. And then all of a sudden, you know, he was no longer the belle of the ball, if you will. How we doing, by the way? How we doing in, is everything working okay? Y'all let me know. We doing okay? Is the connection all right? I know it froze up for about 10 seconds, but I haven't had a problem on my end, but you're the ones who tell me because you see it more than me. Everything good? Okay. Jason says Tech just needs a good quarterback to win. Well, they need a good coach. They need a good coach. They need the right coach to find the right quarterback and have that relationship. Look, we're not talking about, or at least I don't, and I need to. We're not talking about UVA enough. Right? I know Tech fan doesn't want to talk about UVA, but we're not talking about what they have done enough. Tony Elliott has pulled a rabbit out of the hat here in his must-make-good year. They spent NIL money. They spent it wisely just in terms of not only talent, but talking about the way that they were able to go out. Hokey Rock says, oh, yes, we are. Plenty enough. I know you don't want to talk about them. But we're not mentioning UVA enough. Evaluation. Coach Elmation, we've talked about evaluation. And it goes into how these guys want to play together and how they respond in close games. And those guys are bought in because they keep winning those close games for one another. It was a make-or-break year in Charlottesville, and Tony Elliott spent his money wisely, and what they're doing is not getting – let's put it this way. I'll say this, Hokey Rocks, they're not getting enough national credit. I mean, they're number 14 in the playoff. The ACC is only getting one team, whoever ends up winning the championship game. Coach Elmo says UVA reaping the benefits of staff coaching stability. Coach who did not panic. That's a good point. Very good point. Very good point. Go Ducks. I can post this because it's website, apparently. I remember when GoDucks.com will. I know, right? I don't even know what that is you sent me, Wayne. But in any event, UVA's it's been wonderful what they've done. It really is. It's been absolutely wonderful. Thanks, Opal. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, we're good to go. We're good. But yeah, Florida State they'll be in that market. Because these agents know. I mean, they know their coaches are, and that's one of those things too. I talked about Tech was aggressive, then they've done nothing since. They haven't done anything at Florida State, yet people are now realizing that job's going to be open, and they're getting all sorts of people that are circling around that job. Oh, yeah, that's right. They did. They posted me voice of the Ducks. That's right. I forgot about the things around GoDucks.com. Quack, quack. The game in Parisburg tomorrow night. Maybe Coach Rags will be there. Who is that? Is that Giles and Glenver? Who do they have, Jason? It's not NARS. They've already played NARS, right? Who do they play tomorrow? Last regular season of high school football here in the area. Who are they playing at Spartan Stadium? Is that field named after Coach Ragsdale? Did they do that? Because if not, they needed to a long time ago. George With. Thanks, Jason. Are you on that game, Jason? Jason, by the way, from Family Fencing, also a high school football official. Rodney's got Giles and George With. All right, there we go. Yeah, I'm not saying, Tebow, that UVA is a national contender. I'm just saying, just you end it today, they've had a heck of a turnaround. I mean, they keep winning close games. Is that going to translate later? I don't know. We'll see. Wayne says, go Maroons. He's a George With guy, George With grad. Like right now, you would die. If you were a Tech fan, you would kill for the season that UVA is having. Christiansburg Salem. Ooh. Really? Glenver and Giles don't play at all anymore? Our attorney, Ryan Price, sponsor of our BDST Fan Question of the Week. Wonder why. Glenver's really good. Kevin Clifford, that defense. Not the biggest team in the world, but they are really talented. They go to the football, man. Okay, so the field at Giles is named after Rags. Yeah, I knew Harry Ragsdale because Harry Ragsdale Field at Narrows. I knew that one. Wasn't sure about Giles. Good. Redistricting. Okay. Oh, okay, Ron. Your son goes to Glenver. Gotcha. Well, I hate that. You would think you could have a non-district game, right? And have that game still be played. Yeah. The Highlanders are at the fighting Tim Cromers this weekend. Big win for Radford last week against Floyd. Yeah, I know they're in different districts, but you don't play just district games. I mean, you could play. I mean, Giles plays, Blacksburg every year. They're not in the same. You don't play just district games. There's only like 5 or 6 district games, depending on what district you're part of. But you could fill out the rest of your schedule, your non-district schedule, and have a game, Giles and Glenver, that would have a huge crowd, big interest. We've lost too many of those games over the years. I'm glad Giles still plays Blacksburg. That's a big game. So, yeah. Oh, it's great what Craig County's doing. It's awesome. I will always pull for Craig County because we were around when they were not having a football program. They didn't have enough kids for a couple of years. Will they lose at least 2 seasons? Rodney, a lot like Auburn here. Was it 2 seasons that they lost? Yeah, Giles was the biggest rival on Glenver's schedule. So why not make game 2 Giles and Glenver? Crowds would love it. Fans. What do people think? Should it be A, AA, AAA again? Too many divisions, too many state champs. That was the thing, man. Back in the day, that was it. Dwight Vick will reference it with him again later. But yeah, I agreed with you. It was different. It was a lot different. Yes, there's nothing ever going to top Giles and Narrows. Never. I mean, I know that, but I'm just saying that's another nice game, boy. Another good rival game. Giles and Glenver could play in the playoffs. Don't think that's happened. Interesting. That'd be cool. But anyway, imagine if Giles is non-district, you had the Blacksburg game, the NARS game, and then Glenver. Boy, that's 3 pretty big gates right there for your high school athletic department budget. right? Because people are always going to go to the big rival game. It's always going to be Giles NARS selling out. Blacksburg goes all the way back to the New River District. And then you bring that Glenver game back. I mean, it's a lot. Yeah, it's NARS. That's the way you have to say it. Back in the day, Radford, Giles, and Blacksburg are always good, and you could book it. Yeah. Yeah, I caught a lot of really, really just, in the best term possible, barbaric Radford Giles games, man. It was a massive rivalry. I just remember whenever you'd go, think that Friday night Trek district play, that's when Giles and Radford would always be at the top of the league, man. And Coach Ragsdale, that place was lit up there at Spartan Stadium. Great memories, though. And tomorrow night is the final regular season week. So that's hard to believe that we've gotten here. But that's how quickly football seems to go each and every year. Bill Roth joins us coming up at 7:30. He's got a off week. And Dwight Vick joins us as well in the third hour. Keep your comments coming through on the McClelland Chiropractic chat line. Hit us up on the text line. Brought to you by Professional Door, 391-0788. Andy Bitter joins us now from Tech Sideline. Good morning, AB. How are you, brother?
I'm pretty good. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Saw your name all over X yesterday. You were on a podcast, and you were talking about James Franklin, and it got a lot of traction.
Yeah, I think the headline was a little misleading on that one. I don't know. I think I expressed a little more skepticism than what the headline.
No, according to you, it's done. That's what they were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him for like 30 minutes, and I saw the headline, like, insider says it's going to happen. I'm like, I think there's a lot more doubt in my voice. Maybe I'd have to go back and listen to it, but I think there were more shades of gray than what they put in the headline on that.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about those shades of gray. It's the topic that everybody wants to talk about. What have you heard? What are you thinking right now? At least in the things that you've heard, if you don't want to share, but what's your mindset right now toward this whole thing?
I think it's close, but close ain't done. A lot of coaching searches get close and then it doesn't finish. So, everybody's always like, a lot of smoke out there, a lot of smoke. Okay, show me the fire at this point, right?
Sure.
Don't tell me you have, you've gotten most of the way there with the agreement. Show me the piece of paper that says you signed it, that it's happening. Because if not, Frank Beamer backed out of going to UNC. Greg Schiano was going to be the Tennessee coach until he wasn't. These coaching searches seem like they're done or on the doorstep of being done, and then they don't get done because there's a lot of money involved and a lot of different factors involved in this whole thing. So we wait at this point. Last week I came on the show, I said, it's early. It's still October. You know what? It's November 6th. That's still early in a coaching search process.
It is.
As much as people are like, man, Virginia Tech has gone out there and they've made this great offer and he's got to take it or leave it. They got to move on and pivot to their second choice. Their second choice is probably still comes open. Perhaps something else comes open that interests him more. We'll see.
That's it. And that's the thing. I mean, people forget that there's two sides of this. He's not just interested in the Tech job. People think that, it's the only job he cares. No, that's not how this whole thing works. I mean, we don't know exactly 100% who he's interested in, but there's no way Jimmy Sexton is just honed in on one opportunity right now.
Yeah, and that's part of the deal. You deal with the mega agent like this, and he's going to push for leverage on everything. I feel like Tech's big thing right now is to say the offer's there. It's not getting better. We're not going to bid against ourselves in this whole thing. And like we've made a very strong offer. I don't feel like go to Arkansas and see what Arkansas is going to get you if that's how you want to do it. But our offer is our offer. That's how I would do it if I were Virginia Tech. I mean, they're already stretching resources to the max, it sounds like, with what this contract could be. So I say don't put yourself in a worse situation because you're getting antsy because you haven't gotten an answer yet. And we'll see if they do that. This committee has a lot of strong personalities on it. We'll see if a lack of an answer now or immediately makes them turn a different direction or feel slighted and pull the offer or something like that. I think that would be a mistake if you think James Franklin is really the right coach for this job.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because I had somebody tell me that they may have went over all the details of it. This is how it's going to look. This is what we have. You think they've officially offered the job, or they've just talked about this is what it is? We really like you, but we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves either, because once word gets out they've offered somebody else a job, then all of a sudden other coaches aren't going to want to talk to Tech.
Yeah, I think job offers, it's one of those things where you only technically get the offer when it's accepted. But I'm sure the terms are understood or almost fully understood. So it's just maybe sort of semantics about whether an offer has been made.
Yes, 100%, 100%. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I still maintain it. Try to remind Tech fans this is a really good job, and they're going to get a good football coach. I mean, they know they have to. Tech should never feel like they're not deserving of, the right coach in here, right? I mean, this is a good place.
Yeah, it is. And, that's the other thing I keep saying is there's other coaches out there.
That's right.
This is, I think, what agents want fan bases to believe is that this guy's a really good coach and he's the only coach who can get you out of the trouble you're in. That's not the case. That's never the case. It's not true in football. It's not true in politics. It's not exactly true in anything. There is no savior that's coming in that is the only person that can fix this situation. No, there's plenty of good coaches. I keep maintaining if they end up with Bob Chesney in this whole thing, I think that's a great result.
Absolutely.
I think he's a really good coach. And, oh, by the way, you're probably not spending $10, $11, $12 million a year on that coach. Where could that money otherwise go? Now, maybe you don't get that kind of money committed from donors if it's Bob Chesney and it's not James Franklin. But, there's other ways, there's cheaper ways of going about hiring this football coach. And, yeah, you look at it every single cycle. That's always the thing that people do in the aftermath of coaching hiring cycles. Let's grade the hires. They did a great job. Billy Napier, A, Florida. Well, that was an F hire in hindsight.
That's right.
Right. You see that a lot. I love going back 3 years after the fact and looking at those grades and going, they're just grading based off name recognition of somebody. Now, Pry got like a C+. That was also an F hire. So, it's not perfect, but, sometimes just completely underrated hires. I don't know. Who's sitting there going Signetti was an A+ hire for
right at the time. Right.
It was a good hire because he had won everywhere, but I don't think anybody looked at that and goes home run. They really knocked it out of the park.
Right.
And yet, in hindsight, that's an A++ hire. I mean, that's the best hire you could make in that cycle.
100%. I mean, I think you fall in love with the name. Filmation says you can't get caught up in falling in love with the press conference, right? Don't try to hire a coach to win the press conference. Hire the coach who's going to win for 5 years, right? And you're right. That's exactly what you're saying. So.
And I mean, the lesson for Virginia Tech is right there in its own history. And everybody wanted Bobby Ross back in the day.
That's right.
And they don't get Bobby Ross, and they get Frank Bieber instead. And what was the Bill Brill column? Back in the Roanoke, whatever the newspaper was called back in the day, it says like waking up on Christmas morning instead of getting a toy bike or whatever, you got a sweater. And, Frank's famous line was, maybe Virginia Tech needed a sweater.
It's cold in the winter.
Classic Frank response with class, and got the job done. But, back then, I bet you fans were like, oh my gosh, didn't get Bobby Ross. We're getting this guy instead. And it turned out you got a Hall of Fame coach. You just didn't know it at the time.
100%. 100%. I think that's exactly the way Tech fan needs to look at it. The committees, they're going to have a good football coach, whoever it is. It's not just one guy who can change things around here. It has to be the right guy. That's why all these jobs are coming open, because they thought they had the right guy, AB, right? They thought they had their guy to do it.
Well, that's the thing is you look at this, and most of these hires don't work. You're most likely going to be firing this person that you're hiring right now at some point. And that's even if they have some success. Justin Fuente had success. They ended up having to fire him at a certain point. James Franklin had a bunch of success at Penn State. They ended up having to fire him at some point. So they're putting all these huge contract numbers out there, and I don't know what's real when I hear them. You have to wait and actually see it on paper to believe that this is an actual figure. But think about the back end of that and what you could potentially have to owe a coach if this doesn't work and you're overextended so much. Does that affect your program down the line? Jimbo Fisher was the savior for Texas A&M. Oh. They gave him that ridiculous contract, and then they ended up having to eat $77 million of it. James Franklin, $50 million. I know they're not going to pay that whole amount because of the offset in there. Norvell, $59 million right now. Don't put yourself in a situation where a couple of years from now you may be going, man, we really got duped in this whole thing, and now we're in a world of hurt financially, trying to pay this thing off, or being in a decision where you have to keep somebody you don't want to.
What are those? Do you know those numbers? I had a couple people in chat want me to ask you, because I didn't really know the numbers. What is the offset language about Franklin's buyout if he gets another job? Like, how much does he forfeit it all, or is it a certain percentage that he gets?
I think it's. I haven't looked at the language of it, and I don't know if Pennsylvania has weird open records laws, so I don't know if an actual contract of his is out there, but I think it's offset whatever he makes, and it was $8 million previously, so whatever he makes his new place minus that. And I think part of it is it's a fair market. Like you have to get a fair market offer. You can't go somewhere and then like, well, you'll pay you $200,000 a year, and then they're on the hook. I don't think you can do that. Perhaps Penn State thinking ahead of time with writing that contract. I don't think that's allowed by that whole thing. But again, I'm not a contract lawyer, and I have not seen the actual contract.
Well, Franklin a little bit from that area, covering him. He's not a very media friendly guy. He's not a very personable guy. He thinks a lot of himself. Take the football side out of it. How do you think he would settle into a community like the New River Valley?
I think he'd be fine here. I mean, it's not like Penn State is
similar.
New York City. I think I disagree. I think he is a media guy. He likes to be in the media. He likes to put himself out there. Very much a guy who enjoys the camera, I think, on that whole thing. I would argue with some of his media policies, since basically Virginia Tech adopted all their policies media-wise based on what Penn State did. And, we pushed back on that initially, and they didn't listen to us at all. It's like, we're just going to do it this way. Like, these are very different beats, not quite the same level of coverage that you have here. I don't quite know why you're doing it this way. I just disagreed with some of his interactions with the media and how he's handled some, touchier subjects. But, that's ticky-tack, journalism nerd stuff to talk about. The fans don't care about that. They see him in front of the camera. They see him being a dynamic recruiter and stuff like that. And I think that's what's most important for a program, so they can get out there and excite the troops, excite the masses. And I think he would do that.
Well, let's go back to the game. Feels like it's an eternity ago. I guess it has been. We're on Thursday now. What did you see? I was traveling to get to watch it, but it's 16-7. Then I get back and see that they lost 28-16. What happened? And the offense went away. What did you like early, and what happened later?
Yeah, well, they were doing all the things you have to do to pull an upset early. An interception that gave him great field position for a touchdown. Blocked a punt that sort of unlucky that it went out the back of the end zone. Typically, you block a punt like that in play, you're going to get great field position down there, but it went out for a safety. I made a big defensive stop on a 4th down that flipped things. And then, Louisville's pretty good, and Virginia Tech stopped making plays. And I go to the deep ball to Donovan Green that maybe slightly just out of his reach, maybe should have been caught. I don't know if he could catch that and stay in bounds and score a touchdown, but man, it felt like it should have been. It should have been a touchdown.
Right.
If you just put it out over the field, and he runs under it and catches it. It was maybe a tough catch on the run like that, but I feel like it hits both hands. He probably should have caught it. You get that, it's a big deal. Perhaps you get back to a 9-point lead. Instead of drop it, you punt back. Louisville gets a big 63-yard punt return and scores, and you're losing. And that's the difference between being up 2 scores and being down 5 points. And, the team just didn't make plays in the air. You're not going to win many games throwing for 76 yards. And I think that's you've been pretty clear about this team, is that they don't throw the ball well. And if you don't throw the ball at a satisfactory level in today's college football game, you're not going to win many games unless you're, one of the service academies running the option. And even they throw the ball a little bit more than you would think these days, or unless you're, Paul Johnson and committing completely to the triple option, you've got to be able to throw the ball today. And they're just not really capable of that right now.
Well, they have another bye week very quickly, so they'll be as healthy as they can be for this final stretch run. Your take on Phil Montgomery and the job that he's done? These guys playing really hard every week. I mean, he has really owned this season in a way that it's really special, I think, as a guy who probably knows he's not going to be here. He knows he's going to be asked to leave regardless of who comes in. But the fact that he's done this has helped himself a lot, hasn't it? I would think somewhere doing something at another school.
Yeah, I mean, he's been sort of the rock at the top of the program that they needed. And you say, oh, how good of a job has he done? I mean, they're 3-3. And honestly, 3 wins is more than I thought they'd have this year.
Yeah.
And the way they started the season, the way that the direction of the season was going, you look at the transfer portal possibilities once the coach gets fired, and you go, how many players is this team going to have by the end of the year? They didn't have this just complete exodus of players on the team. So he held things together pretty well. Didn't expect them to win that NC State game. I thought they could win the Cal game, but it was looking dicey there for a half.
It was.
So kept the team together to pull out a fun win. I mean, he gave them 2 real memorable wins this season, which, again, is more than I thought. And, we'll see what they can do down the stretch here. If you beat any of those 3 teams down the stretch, that could be a really memorable moment. And certainly you beat UVA. People remember that forever. But beat Miami and continue their misery for not making the playoff, I think people would like that. You beat Florida State and be the one to tip Florida State over into firing Norvell. Now, perhaps not if that means that Florida State goes after James Franklin. But
exactly.
Wouldn't that be coincidental?
They beat him, yeah.
That would completely tank Montgomery's legacy. He was the one that finally made them go, that's it, $59 million is not true.
Right.
That. But, he's won some tight games. He's won some memorable games, and he's been very steady at the top of the program. And I think that's something that they needed, especially when you come on as an interim coach and have 9 games left in the season. You just need somebody who's going to be there every day and sort of sets the standard, and I think he has.
What's your take on all this Disney pulling their stuff off of YouTube TV and that dispute? I think they haven't gotten the reaction they thought they were going to have. People seem to be digging in here. They're very recognizing this for what it is. Disney trying to get people to go buy their new app.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a YouTube TV subscriber.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I've got an off week here where I've got a whole weekend where I can watch games. I can't watch half the games. And they've done this before with other channels, and they eventually resolve it. So I'm not going to run to Hulu or something like that.
No.
I'm not going to go download something else. I'm just not going to watch those games. Like it's annoying. It's bad enough that the price on YouTube TV has gone up exponentially. It feels like since I got it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Nobody wins in this situation. And I'm not sitting here going like, oh, ESPN is right. Oh, they're wrong too. It's Disney and Google that are fighting over like pocket change for them. It's like, what are you doing here? I think a lot of people just not put up with it at a certain point. And I don't know what that means necessarily. Does it mean they drop their UT TV subscription? to pay Disney more money when Disney's kind of being jerks in this whole thing too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to wait it out. I don't want to go through the hassle of changing the TV service, and you lose all your DVR recordings of other shows and stuff. And I don't know. It didn't really affect me last week because I was covering a game.
Yeah, right.
It does kind of affect me this week. I mean, it spared me having to watch that awful Monday night football game last week. It spared me having to watch that awful selection show, the college football playoff rankings release, which is this contrived weekly nonsense that they do every single week. It's like, just show me the final rankings. I don't need the lead up to this whole thing. So I'm maybe noticing that I miss ESPN all that much in some of these games. Like, oh man, I don't get to watch Get Up in the morning.
Oh darn!
I don't get to rush to my TV to change the channel when First Take comes on, and I hear Stephen A. Smith's voice. Like, oh my gosh, there's something that goes off my brain. Like, I have to change the channel immediately. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I just don't care about on ESPN. I care about the games. So it'd be nice if they could resolve it by this weekend, but I don't think they will.
No. But the NFL is going to speak pretty soon because their ratings were down. College football was down, and the advertisers are going to start having their voices heard because they didn't sign these contracts to have that many eyes taken off their products.
Yeah,
right?
And it's just, there are a bunch of needless standoffs right now. You look at our government right now. It's like, what are you guys doing? You look at this thing right now. It's like, come on, can you guys sit down and figure this out and just come to some reasonable agreement to move on? It's not going to last forever. So, this is just stupid posturing at this point.
100%. Final thoughts here. ACC, Virginia keeps winning close games. Georgia Tech coming off a loss. Well, how are you looking at the league right now as we head down the final third?
It's insane. I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, Virginia is the only unbeaten team in the conference, sitting 8-1 with their one loss being to an ACC opponent that didn't count
right
in the standings. Virginia and Georgia Tech are 16-2 combined. Those two losses are both to NC State, which lost to Virginia Tech with an interim coach. The preseason favorites the last 2 years are what? 3-7 in the conference right now. I mean, Clemson 2-4, I think, right now in the league. Really underachieved. I mean, the two schools that sued the conference to get out have been relegated to the ACC network this weekend.
That's right.
And not only is that bad, but it's now on a channel that a lot of us can't watch because we don't have it on our roster, TV roster. I mean, this conference is upside down. I mean, it's you look at where it's sitting in the college football rankings. I think Virginia's 11th. A bunch of teams right behind them in short order. This is a one-bid league.
Yeah.
Perhaps Miami, if Miami could win out, they could get into it, but I don't believe Miami is going to get in there. It's not a great league. It's a one-bid league, but man, the drama's there. I mean, you don't know what to expect. And I see somebody in the comments mention, Coastal Chaos. I said, I tweeted it last week. I said, like, you thought you killed Coastal Chaos. No, you just infected the entire league with it. And now somebody's like, it's multiple Coastal Chaos. Yes, there's a Pacific Coast too to this whole thing. So, I mean, the league makes no sense geographically now. It makes no sense competitively now with some of the things. And, it's kind of fun to watch sometimes. We'll see how this plays out. There are 5 teams with one loss. All of a sudden, tiebreakers are going to play into this whole thing. I mean, in any one of those teams jumping up to get into the title game wouldn't surprise me. And it still wouldn't even surprise me if Virginia falls out, even though they're 5-0.
Right.
Have not been playing well enough to think that like that just continues every week. Now, everybody else has stumbled as well. So, perhaps just not stumbling at this point, even against an inferior schedule like that, is good enough to get there.
Yeah, agreed.
If Duke gets there, it doesn't surprise me. If Pitt gets there, it doesn't surprise me. Louisville, Georgia Tech, SMU, all with one loss, have played good enough football to get there. It's going to come down to maybe some crazy tiebreaker that, I don't like the tiebreakers. I wish they would just stick with 8 games, just have like a semifinal round in the ACC playoffs. I think that would be more entertaining and perhaps a better solution to this whole thing than trying. There's the schedules are so different from everybody that somebody could get a really easy schedule and breeze to the ACC title game.
That's right.
I think there should be a layer in between there that you could have 4 teams advance and then 2 after that, and just kind of have a bonus week for everybody else. They match up and play somebody else. But that's my crazy idea to solve the ACC scheduling problem.
Hey, an in-season semifinal, people would eat that up. If they could actually watch the games. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Well, enjoy your weekend off, and hopefully maybe this thing does get resolved. We'll see. I don't see it lasting longer than this coming weekend. I mean, it may go through the weekend, but that's going to be a lot of advertiser dollars maybe going to be pulled and a lot of views that are going to be off. So we'll see. We'll see who caves. But
well, I guess I'm watching the Fox games this weekend.
There you go. Go Big Ten. All right. Thanks, brother. Be good, man.
All right. Talk to you later.
Andy Bitter joining us. He's a Big Ten guy anyway. AB. Yes. That's right. Andy said the deal's done. Breaking news. Hang on. More breaking news. I got Creed over here. Hang on. Actually, just feels good to wait to get up. Come on, buddy. Come on. All right. There we go. That's right. AB says it's done. Done deal. It's not at all what he said. But that was the headline. Hey, Tech Insider says this thing's almost there. Bill Roth will join us here momentarily. The voice of Virginia Tech football. Yeah, the man just came in. He's been out there braving the cold all night long. He's sitting around like, oh, yeah, it feels good now. It's good, getting warmer down here. Good stuff from Andy Bitter, though. Yeah, I agree, Wayne. Pittsburgh. Coach Narduzzi does a nice job. Pat Narduzzi is a good football coach. He doesn't get a lot of credit. I guess he gets credit there because he's kept his job there for a long time. He's what? Is it like 10 or 11 years at Pitt for him? Something like that. How long has Narduzzi been at Pitt? Yeah, the king has returned. He had a feather, by the way, on his neck, so we can assume things there. A lot of times there's circumstantial evidence, and then there's evidence that's pretty damning, and I think the feather caught in his right under here is probably pretty much damning circumstantial evidence for that guy. Yeah, okay, so 2015. So this is 11 seasons for him. Narduzzi's a good football coach. He is. He really is. And I think Andy's right. I don't know how it's going to end up. But the ACC it's just a one big league. This is why Tech is going to get a good football coach. They're in the ACC, of course, and it's an easier path. That's why Florida State's going to get a ton of interest. The circus around Tallahassee, nowhere near the circus around Baton Rouge. I'll be interested to see what happens at LSU. Every day, people take the time to post all these rumors that they're hearing that someone is very close, and nobody has a damn clue. Let's just say it the way it is. Even the information I've gotten, it doesn't mean that anything is definitely going to happen. Just kind of tells you how the process is going behind the scenes. We don't know if an official extension of an offer has been been made to Franklin. We just know that they've talked about parameters and what it's going to look like, and this is here, blah, blah, blah. They have swapped what they've wanted, and okay, all right. That's what negotiation's about. But I think to Andy's point, why would either side be in a massive hurry? Because I believe Virginia Tech has other people it wants to talk to. Why would you just talk to one person? You're not. So all the people who think that they have all this insider info and all the people who are trying to get clicks and all this nonsense, just recognize it for what it is. That's all it is. I mean, everybody's going to hear things. It doesn't mean any of it's accurate in terms of like when Virginia Tech's going to name its head coach. And anybody who's saying they're getting information, well, a lot of these people are saying, hey, I spoke to a committee member. No, you didn't, because they signed legal agreements not to talk about it. All right, Dwight Vick joins us coming up. And we're excited now because it's been a couple of weeks. There he is. He's the voice of Virginia Tech football. I've missed my friend, Bill Roth. What's up, brother? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? How are things over there at the home studio?
Yeah, man. It's going okay. How about you? Yeah, you look good in yours too.
I'm enjoying an off week. We had this weird season in which we have had, 2 open dates in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So it's nice to have it catch up on some things other than rosters and 2 deeps and storylines for our team and the other team too. So, but good to be with you.
Yeah, good to be with you. How's Baxter? I like to check on Baxter. Is they good? Is he around?
He's ready to go out for his walk. I can tell you that. He's not big dog, but he's on the ground here.
He's ready to go. He's ready
as the official co-pilot. Yes.
I think the last time we spoke, you were getting ready to prep for Cal, right? We're getting ready to watch them play UNC and the trip out there and everything. And now, Tech, here we are. Your thoughts on the Hokies? You know, this is a team that continues to go out and leave everything on the field. Very impressed with the way they handled the situation against Cal here at home. What do you think about Virginia Tech 3-3 now, and what this effort and what Philip Montgomery is doing, Bill? What it really means? I think Tech fan really appreciates what he has been able to do here.
I think we should. He's done a really nice job of keeping them together. I'm impressed with guys like Noah Chambers and Sheldon Robinson who are coming along. Some of these youngsters are getting some playing time, which is exciting. We saw Jeffrey Overton make his debut in the Louisville game, and he played an awful lot. What you don't know is how many of these freshmen that are playing are auditioning for another team. And there's a lot of unknown, and there's a lot of I think that the roster that we have in the spring is going to look a lot different than the one we have now, and that's dependent upon the coach. But in terms of the buy-in, yeah, we're getting it for Coach Montgomery. We're going to owe him a big thanks at the end of the season. We already do owe him a big thanks for keeping things together.
Well, got off to a great start last weekend, and it looked really strong, and then the offense just kind of went away. Louisville's a really good football team, and they adjusted. What were some of your thoughts watching that game unfold? Tech came out the way they needed to, though, didn't they? Started that game the way they needed.
I think if Louisville was in the SEC or had a different name on the jersey with the same players, they'd be ranked a lot higher.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a veteran offensive line. Both of the backs, both of the Browns, unrelated, but the same name, played great. They've got a quarterback that he's a 23-year-old. He's been through an awful lot that I thought the Hokies rattled him a little bit. They hit him a bunch, and Louisville said, okay, let's just run the ball. And that's the sign of a good team. That was the adjustment Louisville made. They just said, you know what? We got this great quarterback, but we don't want to get him hurt. He's not having a good day. I don't want to say he's not the toughest kid around, but I think the Hokies got in his head a little bit. And so they just decided to just pound the ball, and they did. And that was a little bit discouraging because the Hokies have been pretty good against the run.
Yeah.
Louisville's been great. I mean, in 2 games, Kyron Jones has thrown under 70 yards passing in 2 games against Louisville. It's not a coincidence, but he didn't turn the ball over. And, Louisville has more interceptions than any team in our league. And we didn't give them the game. They had to beat the Hokies. And so I thought that was pretty good. I think they're really underrated. I think our league is underrated. The college football playoff, to me, makes no sense. I mean, here you got Miami beat Notre Dame head-to-head, and they're 8 spots lower, and everybody in our league, Georgia Tech loses to NC State, UVA loses to NC State, and so they're not in the top 12.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So for this committee, in fact, they mentioned it. It's the eye test, not the results. The eye test, and that's the problem with committees. If we're going to go just by numbers, right, Rick? This is what they would say. If we're going just by numbers and who wins the game head to head, then we don't need a committee.
That's right. That's right.
right? The NFL doesn't have a committee.
No.
You beat somebody on the field, you make the playoffs. Well, college football doesn't want to do that. College basketball doesn't do that because then we would just use computers or the standard.
That's right.
And I kind of like the NFL model. I think if you beat somebody, you can't say, well, the losing team, their quarterback was out or they had a bad day. And the committee does justify that. But, there's reasons for having committees for postseason play. I think if we could get to the point, and inevitably you would think, college football it'll look more like the NFL, where there's a setup where champions of divisions make the playoff, or there's a tiebreaker if teams are tied, not 8 people in a room going, well, Miami beat Notre Dame, but you know what? Notre Dame's really not only better, but substantially better.
Right. No, I'm with you. And if this were happening in the SEC, everybody say, hey, we told you how good that league was. It's a murderer's row. It's happening in the ACC, so the ACC's weak. You're right. That's a great point.
Well, NC State had Georgia Tech and UVA both went there and got beat. So I maybe you give NC State some credit. I mean, they didn't look very good in some other games, that's for sure. But that's the beauty of college football, right? Is that other than Ohio State, everybody seems to show some sort of weakness. And,
that's right.
But I wish the ACC was having a better year. But we've been talking about that on this show and your radio show before that for 20 years.
Got to win certain games you've talked about.
Well, I mean, look, if you were grading, Clemson gets an F, Florida State gets an F. And Virginia Tech fired its coach after 3 games. That's an right. So these are the name programs, and I assure you that if Penn State had the same situation, right? But if Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan were all bad at the same time, you wouldn't give Indiana any credit for being good, right?
That's right.
But you have to have your bigger name teams win. That's no secret either, and we've not done that. Miami hasn't won a championship since they joined the conference in 2004. Florida State had lost 11 straight ACC games till last week. Clemson had lost 7 straight home games till last week. And people can't get their arms around Louisville as an ACC team, I guess.
Right. And Pitt is very good.
Louisville's got a first-round NFL pick wide receiver, terrific backs, veteran linemen. Their defensive players probably aren't as good. I've talked with our coaches last week. They said, Louisville's had better defensive players over the last 15 years or so, but this might be their best overall defense as a team. And Ron English, who's calling their plays defensively, does a great job. Right, their players fit their scheme, and
they do.
Louisville's going to be a tough out. If they can get in.
Yeah, if they can get in. Yeah, you're right. Good coach. Jeff Brom's really good. He's turned out to be a terrific football coach. You're right. It's a great point. It makes people have to think a little bit because what's happening in the ACC happens in the SEC, and it's looked at as being the greatest thing in the world. Yet when the ACC, I've told you they were terrible. We told you they don't have a good team. Yeah, it's the hypocrisy.
Well, but that being said, I mean, look, Miami fans have seen this play every year. And there was an article in the paper down there yesterday. Is Miami getting the return on its investment on Carson Beck? And it was just so odd to read. They're paying him millions of dollars, and they've got better players. Our league is so interesting. The Miami coach, when he was hired, really criticized Manny Diaz, who he replaced, for not recruiting well enough. I mean, he outwardly said that. But Manny's record, their records are about the same.
I know. He's doing a great job at Duke.
Well, just overall, like Manny's record at Miami is the same as Cristobal's record.
Right.
So, and the difference is that Miami has made hundreds of millions of dollars of investments, and they lose to SMU and they lost to Louisville, and I'll be curious to see if they can win 10 games. They have the talent, and How many times have we said Miami's had the talent over the last 25 years?
Yeah, I know. I know.
The Florida State thing I can't figure out. We go there next week, and I'll be curious to be on the ground there and kind of look around and see what the deal is with Norvell and that staff and that team. And they've got Clemson this week. So either the Tigers or Seminoles will feel really good Saturday, and one's going to keep in this malaise that it's in.
Yeah, that's a great point. That'll be interesting to talk to you because I'm curious too. There's so many rumors speculating about what they're going to do, and well, pretty much we kind of know what they're going to do, but how that's going to turn out and what they're looking at going forward. That's a place that's kind of like the LSU of the ACC in terms of just uncertainty and chaos, at times.
Well, I think the cautionary tale that we should all learn is look how much money Penn State spent on coaches and players this year, and look how much money Penn State spent on stadium renovations. And then look at Tallahassee and do the same thing. Those two schools in their 2 stadium renovations in the last 18 months, and their coaches and players they're close to $1 billion in football. And you can't spend your way out of it. You have to spend, but it doesn't guarantee anything. And it doesn't even guarantee you'll be competitive. So it's perplexing, right? I mean, Penn State fans shaking their head. We had all the same players back from a playoff team, and we have no buy-in with our coach. Florida State, same thing. The players supposedly, reportedly, in the paper down there are saying we hear the same speech over and over from Norvell. Yeah. And, when you lose 11 in a row as a coach, I don't know, what would you say after about the 9th or 10th one in a row?
That's a great point.
You try every different thing. You change staff, right? They changed assistants. They've done a lot. So, but I think both Clemson and Florida State have the ability to fix it quick. And I thought Clemson would be back this year.
Yeah, I did too. Phil Steele had them playing the national title game. Everybody thought that, right? This was going to be here. They committed to the NIL full throttle for the first time. Nope. Nope. Didn't happen. But you're right. If players are saying that, there's something. Yeah, you're right.
Florida State's got a lot of advantages, that people like, right? They, as a coach, they got a fertile recruiting base. It's a school where football means a lot. It's got great tradition. It's got, they added that one deck a few years ago that really changed Doak Campbell. And then this year they completely gutted their west side. Doak Campbell's not as big as it was last time we went there 2 years ago. They took out a lot of seats. They've added basically, I don't want to say a party deck, club seats, but with a patio overlooking the field. I'm excited to see that. I mean, imagine if you at Lane Stadium, if you ripped out 10,000 seats right between the 35-yard lines and put outdoor patio where you can have a drink and watch the game. And of course, it costs you 5 times as much as a ticket. And that's the reason for doing those club seats. But I'll be curious to see how they did it. That's an old stadium, That's a stadium, back in the 60s and 70s that the Hokies played in.
That's exactly right.
It's so funny. I wish I could share my screen. We're going to do on next Friday, we're going to shoot our game preview show down in Tallahassee. And so we're going through old film. And I came across the 1972 Virginia Tech Florida State game in which Don Strock and Burnup played.
Oh, cool.
Against FSU. So we've pulled out some vintage film. I don't know the last time we've used film and then used it on our broadcast. But
that's awesome.
We'll do that for our game preview next week. Thinking ahead.
That is so cool. Get to see old number 81 out there running around on film.
And Lane Stadium with that old vintage scoreboard with the fighting gobbler. It's in that. I got video of that. The looking at Lane Stadium when it 30,000 seats is really curious. Everyone that's come to Tech that's made an impact, like Coach Dooley, he said we've got to get the stadium to 50,000, and they added the east side. Every coach or administrative administrators' generation. You know, Jim Weaver had the biggest impact because he put the south end zone double-decked with suites, the west side, and the Beamer Lawson practice facility. But Dave Brain, too, they spent a lot of money on facilities.
I love that scoreboard, by the way. That
old vintage scoreboard?
I did, man. I remember.
Can you imagine? I think when they tore it down and they probably cut it up for scrap. But it's too big for someone's man cave. But can you imagine if a sports bar in Blacksburg?
Oh, man. It would be the biggest attraction of any place in Blacksburg. I love that scoreboard. Bill Roth, the voice of Tech football, joining us on the program. All right, so I would never put you in any kind of tough position about the coaching search, but can you just remind Tech fan that they're going to get a good football coach? These people they're doing everything right. They're not going to leave any stone unturned. I keep trying to remind people.
I'll say this.
Tech's a great place. Tech's a great place. They're going to get a good coach.
Well, every job is open, and every fan base is going to be told how great the selection was.
That's true too. That's exactly right.
It's funny. I mean, you would have thought Billy Napier would have worked out at Florida. And
I know.
He was the hottest name, proven, had recruited at this level. It makes no sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Unless
Brian
there's something
Kelly
in
made sense.
Unless Brian Kelly,
that made sense,
and that didn't work either. What I would like to find out is, have you noticed that the Gators and the Seminoles and the Hurricanes always seem to have the same type of problem when things go sideways? And I'm wondering if that's a Florida high school culture that is hurting the programs there. I don't know.
That's true. That's very true.
Or is Kirby Smart just getting all the good Florida players to go to Georgia?
Right.
And then the second-tier kids from Florida, like Isaac Brown, go to Louisville, and they're going to be a first-round NFL pick. He's only a sophomore, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Maybe you don't want one of the top 20 players in Florida. You want player number 56.
Yeah. Down the list a little bit.
Because the 56 player in Florida, in a state with 20-something million people, would be a top 5 kid in Maryland.
Right.
You know, or the number 1 kid in Tennessee. I don't know. That's why I really want to find out. And as you're the Gators looking for a new coach, you're going to have someone that can figure that out. And if the Noles are looking for a new coach, because if you're going to rely on Florida high school kids and there's an issue there culturally, you know where I'm going with that?
Yeah, no.
You know, a lot of those
100%.
kids play for 2 or 3 high schools, and they bolt when things go sideways from one high school to another. And I don't know. I'm not being critical. I'm saying I don't know.
No,
I'd be curious to talk with. I don't know. I mean, Florida's had some. Billy Napier's a pretty good coach. Dan Mullen's a pretty good coach. I mean, what did Urban Meyer know or do that the others haven't down there?
And they all have great resources. You're right. That's a great point. Now you got my mind going. It's like, why? Those 3, they're never going to struggle for resources. They never have. They have everything they want, dedication to the program. They live and die by their football programs, but yet they're all 3.
And I think they're very well balanced. Like, no. I mean, Florida's a great school. Like, if you look at the rankings, Florida's right up there with UVA and Cal academically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They don't have the boosters don't run the programs, right? Florida wins and they won men's basketball national championships.
Yeah,
they win in a lot of things. And it's, other than Texas, the best high school football state, right? No offense to California, but
no, it is. It is.
Or Kirby's just getting them all in Athens, Georgia.
Yeah, like Nick Saban did before, right? Wow, it's interesting. That's a great point. It makes people think a little bit right there. Yeah, why? It's got to be culture. You're right. It's only explanation. Whatever culture is defined as, it's got to be the culture around each of those schools.
Or maybe it's different at each place too, right?
Yeah.
Or it could be really simple as is they have been able to get the quarterbacks. You know, if you look at it, like they thought DJ Lagway was going to be a great quarterback at Florida this year, and it hasn't worked out.
No.
Florida State can't recruit a quarterback. They've got to get BC Tommy Castellanos.
Right.
How is Florida State not recruiting a quarterback? Miami can't recruit a quarterback. They've got to get the quarterback from Georgia, Beck. So you remember now we sound old, but like
no, it's great
most
conversation.
Most of the great quarterbacks in our league. Think about the best quarterbacks in the teams in our league. Even if it was before we joined the league, like who are the Hokies' best quarterbacks that we've ever had?
Oh my goodness!
Right.
Gracious.
So whether it's Randall and Vick and Druckenmiller and who else?
ACC,
Tyrod Taylor, Logan,
Tyrod.
whomever. Right. We all recruited them, and they came to Tech and they developed in our system. And Miami, whether it's Vinny Testaverde or name your Miami great QB. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. They weren't transfers. And Florida State, Manuel, or heck, Charlie Ward, or
Charlie Ward, absolutely.
You know, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, Notre Dame's kind of got the same thing too, right? Notre Dame's not developing quarterbacks. They're just whoever graduates from Wake Forest,
they go get.
So I mean, coaches don't want to wait. They don't want to develop. I don't know, but maybe that's been the issue down there. And that's where the Hokies are right now. I mean, if you take a look at our 26 team, regardless of who the coach is, I don't know who our quarterback will be. And the odds are, and I love Pop Watson to death, but the odds are a new coach is going to come in here and get a QB in the portal.
Well, that's right.
And it's going to cost.
Yes, a lot. Yeah.
Because everyone also knows that Tech has made an investment. And if I'm a head coach and I'm thinking of coming to Virginia Tech, that's probably a question I'm going to ask. What's my QB budget? Can I spend what Miami spent on Carson Beck? Can I spend what Duke spent on Mensa from Tulane, or reported, or what Louisville spent to get the USC quarterback?
Yeah, right. It's all correlated, isn't it? Quarterback, offensively, but you got to have that.
Haynes
guy.
King.
Yeah.
Haynes King. He might be Georgia Tech's quarterback graduated from Texas A&M 3 years ago.
Right.
UVA's quarterback's a transfer.
Mm-hmm. Got to find that guy.
Anybody in our league recruit a quarterback that can make it through 4 years. Right. SMU, right? Their guy. But it's such a weird time, right? And,
yeah, it is. It is. But man, that's interesting. It's thought provoking though to think about. I'll think about that today now about what's going on down there. Yeah.
What are people talking about? I'm looking on my screen. I see all these things popping up.
Oh yeah. Well, everybody's talking about Franklin and Tech, but yeah, people were commenting on what you're talking about. They're talking about Miami, Florida State, Florida players, things like that. So.
They're more worried about their NFL draft position. But doesn't it almost start when you see a kid we've played some players this year that are on their third or fourth college, and then you look back and they were at 2 or 3 high schools, and
yeah,
I can see it as a quarterback, like Davy Belfort's an example. He played. I'm doing this off the top of my head, but he's a Florida kid who came to Tech, and he played for several different high schools. Well, if you're not starting at quarterback for your high school, how's anyone going to know, even if you go to camps, if you're good enough?
Right.
So he transferred to a different high school, got to start. They won. He gets a college scholarship. Now, he did come to Tech and then transfer, but he's playing now down at UCF. But I don't know what it is. It's sometimes you become closer as a team when you lose, and that might be a good way to tie a bow on what this group of Hokies has done, is that our young kids, if they stick with it, have gone through some really rough times. And if they can stick through it and stay with our program over the next couple of years, when we win, they'll be great role models for younger players in our program. Like, man, it's okay. You lose a game, but you come back the next week and play better.
Right. And that speaks to what Coach Montgomery's strength has been. He's kept this team together through the bad times, and it's a special thing. The record may not reflect it, and obviously it's going to lead to a transition to a new regime, but I think people are going to look back very fondly at what.
Well, yeah, I think we do have the right people on the bus, so to speak.
Yeah, right.
7 kids opted out and transferred as soon as the coaching change was made, but the kids that stayed are giving you a better effort. But what you've lost is experience and maybe skill set in some people who left. But these next couple of games for the Hokies, Florida State is a winnable football game. If it's cold in Blacksburg when the Canes visit, it's a winnable football game.
Right.
And our guys know, they remember the game down there last year. We could have won. And then, of course, Virginia. Always a winnable football game.
Always.
Even though they're having one of their greatest seasons.
Yeah.
And, I think the open date is good. We just got to get consistent quarterback play. It's going to be hard to beat anybody if you only have 65 yards passing.
Well, it's a great conversation. What are you going to do for your weekend off? You just going
to watch some football,
if you can, right? If we're able to.
Are you a YouTube TV guy?
I am. I'm going to hold firm though, like Andy. I'm going to hold firm. I'm going to wait. They got to get this resolved sooner or later. Advertisers aren't going to put up with this either. The NFL's not going to put up with this too much longer. So, come on. The ratings are down across the board. Come on. What are we doing?
Bernie Roth, my dad, everything is negotiable, right?
Right.
Everything is negotiable, but you got to negotiate. And it's hard, right? Because whether it's a government shutdown or a YouTube TV Disney negotiation,
right.
You've got egos in play, and we have to win for our shareholders. It's hard. It's hard. I mean, the Disney people, there's a lot of people that have invested a lot of money in that company, and they've got big plans. And there may be a bigger play here. Maybe they want to drive people to the ESPN app.
Absolutely.
I think in a perfect world, in ESPN's perfect world, you couldn't get it on any cable. You'd have to pay your $39.95 a month to watch it on your on the app. You're not going to cave in and subscribe to the ESPN app?
No. I'll go without. If I have to, I'll go without. I'm not going to let them win. I'm not going to let them beat me. It may not be a minor statement, but I'm going to.
And as big as Disney and Google has even more money, so they're
that's the thing.
And they've got their, it's really Google and Disney.
That's right. Trillions versus almost trillions.
and the same in the government, right? I mean,
yes.
There's enough money to get this done.
Ooh, absolutely.
There's plenty of money.
I know.
I'm talking about the Disney.
Yes.
Google.
Yeah, right.
I'm staying out of politics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I hope they get that fixed too. As someone who flies a lot, we got to fly to Tallahassee next week.
Oh, that's right.
And I don't know where Tallahassee sits on the ATC hierarchy. If they start cutting flights, where's Roanoke, Blacksburg, and Tallahassee Regional?
That's true.
I'm guessing they're not on the list.
Hey, Morris. Hey, I want to tell you, Bill, Morris is in Tokyo, and he says, he's visiting. He says Bill Roth is the best, period. He's a big Hokie, and he's a listener. He's traveling in Japan. It's great. He's been spending his vacation with us.
Alan Roth, my nephew, and his wife and kids, they live in Japan. So if it's 8 here, it's 10 o'clock.
Very cool.
10 o'clock on on Thursday night over there. So thank you, Morris.
Thanks, Jim. Jim McAllister. Good morning, Rick and Bill. Two men committed to the craft. Thanks, Jim. You are too. I know you're enjoying retirement, though. So,
what are you doing? So we've got you have hoops, Hokie basketball. This is a good game Saturday. Tech and Providence College.
Yeah, Mike was on with us yesterday. Mike Young, and he's pretty. I love the answer. Talk about filling out the early part of the season. He said, "No, Rick, we don't have time for that. We have to win. These games are going to hurt us come March if we don't take care of it." So he's like, I like my team, so let's go on the road Saturday and beat a good Providence. It was awesome. I love that answer.
Yeah, this game Saturday, and then 3 games in the Bahamas, and then the SEC, the game at South Carolina. I mean, you're going to have 5 opportunities in the non-conference, because you were called last year. Remember in February, there was no opportunity for ACC teams to get tier 1 wins.
That's right.
Recall? Like Duke was the only team in the top 25.
That's right.
That'll be different this year.
That'll be much different.
But if there's no one to beat to help, you got to get these wins in November.
And happy belated birthday. Missed your birthday.
We weren't going to bring that up.
Everybody in chat saying, Bush Bill, happy birthday. So happy belated birthday.
Thanks. Well, thanks everybody for watching. And
great.
I'm hoping we're talking about a coach. It'll happen at some time between the next 6 days or 6 weeks.
Exactly.
8,
that's your time period.
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
10 weeks. Who knows? I don't know. And as they like to say, it's fluid.
We're utilizing one of your students again this weekend, by the way.
Yeah.
Going to be calling a women's basketball game for it. Landon's coming back. He's coming down to Radford today. Going to show him all the stuff. So
really, I'm so impressed with our work ethic of our people. And I got to tell you, Mike Young instituted a new policy. Students get to ask questions first at press conferences.
That is great.
How about that for buy-in from?
That is awesome. Well, that's who that guy is. That's who that guy is.
But I also told our guys, our students, guys and young ladies, when you're in a press conference, you're not sitting there and listening when anyone else asks.
That's right. That's right.
You guys got we have 3 students in there. You guys have to ask a question before Teal, and before Mark Berman, and before Andy Bitter, and before me. So you better have a question. You don't do yourself any favor sitting at a press conference in the back listening.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You ask an intelligent question. And so we worked on that in class last week. I had every student get in the front of the room, 2 chairs facing each other, and they had to interview each other. Person A would ask person B 2 or 3 questions, and then we'd flip it. And they had to ask intelligent questions.
I think that's great.
Not how do you feel?
Yeah. Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah. Something that means something. That's great that Coach Young's doing. That's awesome.
I'm happy for that, son. I'm glad Landon gets that opportunity. And
yeah, he's excited. He'll do a great job.
This week is just to put it in perspective, Kevin DiDomenico's calling all the UVA games on ACC Network Extra. Yep. He's an alum. Giovanni Heater called the Syracuse basketball game Tuesday night, their season opener, their women's game. Everyone knows Evan Hughes is what he's doing. Braden Shank called our women's game. Braden's a junior at Tech, Salem Red Sox, the new name too. We've got kids that are just doing really remarkable things. David Cunningham, as you know, is crushing it with TSL, and but really excited to look. And Jake Lyman is going to do sidelines for Vanderbilt Saturday.
Oh, okay, good.
Andrew will do the game on their Vanderbilt football broadcast from the booth, and Jake will be on the field.
That's great.
Jake's hosting a morning show in Nashville. So these are people that were, tooling around our classroom in the last 18 months.
That's great.
And but you're a big part of it too, Rick, because you're giving them, Landon Weaver's a young man that we'll be talking about in 2 years, and you'll say, man, he was doing our volleyball.
Yeah.
Back in 2025 and 26. So I appreciate your buy-in as well.
No, Kevin still always checks in and he'll just thank me randomly. Because Kevin was one of the first ones of your students we utilize, and he'll just say, Rick, that experience it means a lot. It makes you feel not to the point I know how you feel about your stuff, your kids, but it makes you feel good that you can help young people. So, in any capacity.
Well, and we are fortunate. We've got, fingers crossed, we've got 3 high school seniors, one from New York City, one from Connecticut, and a third from Chicago. Who I think we have a chance to get all 3 of them. They're graduating in May of 26, but they're all early decision at Tech. And they're really good, Rick. They're very, very talented kids. And when you talk with their parents and they're like, well, we're from Chicago and we're considering Northwestern and Virginia Tech. And that's pretty big because Medill's got an amazing program, and it's
they do.
It's a great journalism school, but they don't have some of the things that we can offer in terms of our buy-in with our athletics, and our fans accept our people, our students too, whether it's your fans at Radford or
Yeah,
Will
right.
Stewart's fans at Tech Sideline. When we have, Riley Klaus is hosting their podcast over there. I don't know if you saw last week where Cody Wagner, who's in our program, had a sit-down exclusive with Bo Bassett, the wrestler from Pennsylvania, the number one high school wrestling recruit who committed to Tech. Yeah, Cody's in our SMA program, and I like that we have some depth.
Yeah, you got a deep bench. You got a deep bench over there.
Hey, man, whether you're trying to build a communication program or you're Dave Roberts, and you want a deep bullpen.
Yeah, exactly right.
You never know when you're going to – you never know.
Yeah.
Hey, think about it. That was a 7-game World Series, and Game 3 was an 18-inning game.
Yeah.
It was really an 8-game World Series. And pitching depth. You can never have enough pitching.
No, enough arms. You got a lot of arms. Yeah, got to go.
You know how hard it is to shut out the Toronto Blue Jays for 11 straight innings?
11 straight innings. I know.
Right?
I know.
They scored in the 8th and didn't score again.
Right. Crazy.
All right, boy.
All right, brother. Have a great weekend off, man.
That was some serious time filling there for you.
No, it was good. It was a great conversation. It was. Now you got me thinking about the Florida situation all day. So
Well, I'll give you some recon when we go down there.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. Yeah,
it may be as simple as the reason that Miami hasn't won in the ACC is the best quarterbacks have gone elsewhere. And that if Lamar Jackson he's from South Florida. He went to Louisville.
That's right.
He won the Heisman.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Why Florida State is relying on BC's quarterback?
It's great questions, man. It is.
Not that Tommy Castellanos isn't a dude. I'm not. This is probably going to get out there that I don't think he's a good quarterback.
No,
he's a tough kid now, man.
Yeah.
Tommy, we play him next. Watch, he'll throw for 400 yards against us.
He'll have his best ever college game.
I think he's a really great kid, but my point is that this is such a key year for FSU, and I know Castellanos had a relationship with Malzahn, and he's their OC, and that's why that happened. But
yeah.
But whether it's Beck under delivering, Castellanos not staying healthy, or Lagway at Florida not leading up to, I don't know, if quarterbacks in Florida aren't producing the way they used to.
Yeah.
When you had, Heisman winners, all three of those schools have had Heisman winning quarterbacks.
Right.
So maybe it's as simple as that.
Could be. It could be. Well, we'll see. I can't wait to get the recon. That'll be good.
I just hope we win.
Yeah.
By the way,
recon's a lot more fun.
More research. It was November 16th, 1974. It'll be 50 years to the weekend. Okay. That's the last time Virginia Tech and Florida State played each other, and they both had losing records going into the game.
1974. Okay.
It'll be
51 years.
51 years to the day. And the Hokies won the game in Tallahassee on a Saturday night, 56-21.
Wow. If that score's the same, then we're out of this place. All right, brother. Take care, man. Stay safe.
I'm with you. I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll buy a dinner for everybody in Tallahassee if we can.
Yeah, we're moving if that happens. Yeah.
See you, buddy boy. Thanks.
All right,
Thanks for everybody for
right.
watching.
Take it, man. There you go. That's good stuff. All right. From the voice of Tech football to the quintessential source of Tech football, that's Dwight Vick. Look at that guy. How you doing, DV? Good morning, brother.
Hey, good morning. How you doing, man?
Good stuff. It's a great conversation with Bill. That was fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was listening to some of that. Let me just say this. He's not wrong about quarterbacks because I think Tech Sideline, I don't know if it was Chris Coleman or Will Stewart, but they wrote an article about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I don't know, but it was recent, but not like this year, but it was about within the last 4 years, 5 years about Virginia Tech and UVA and other in-state schools, but really based on Virginia Tech, had not had the typical dynamic quarterback because the 7.57 and the 8.04 had not produced a true power forward dual threat quarterback like they were in the 90s and 2000s when you had Marcus Higgins that went to UVA, Tyrod Taylor, Brian Randall from Williamsburg, Bruton High School, Mike and Marcus Vick, Al Clark out of Washington, D.C., Carroll High School. I know that's not Virginia, but D.C., but still, you hadn't really seen any more homegrown dual threat quarterbacks. As a matter of fact, right now, someone that, like myself, that covers high school and college football, you haven't really seen that this year. The Peninsula District and even the Southeastern District or the South Side, the Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Portsmouth side hasn't really produced anybody that dynamic. And I think there's been a direct correlation. I've often said to my UVA guys when they talk about the decades of mediocrity and underachieving and losing seasons, I've always said, you guys haven't had a quarterback. You haven't had a quarterback since Marcus Higgins, Aaron Brooks, those kind of guys. So Bill's on to something with that. Now, I will say Miami not winning the ACC, I don't think it's just directly correlated to quarterback because they did have Cam Ward last year.
They had the number one pick. Wayne brought it up in chat. Right.
Yeah, they had Cam Ward. I think it's deeper with Miami. I think Miami is trying to rush the process. I think they, again, this is why I said I want Virginia Tech to move in a different direction. I think Miami's trying to recreate the nostalgia and magic they had in the 80s and 90s with Michael Irvin on the sideline, who's been great for them. But what I'm saying is that you can't ever get that back again. Like Virginia Tech had a strong hold on the 7.57 in the state, and Miami had a strong hold on South Florida and Florida in general. And then both areas became it was no longer the best kept secret. So everybody went to those regions to pluck away talent, and both schools have suffered. Now, respectfully, Miami did win a couple of national championships. They at least won one late after that with Coker. But overall, I think the premise I see with college football and even college basketball, and this is going to sound mean, but I don't care. I think a lot of college coaches are not patient enough or have time or good enough to develop. Coaching is about developing and teaching. You've had some great guests on this week that talked about that, who were great at developing people with Todd Grantham, Al Mason, and other people. I look at a lot of schools, primarily Virginia Tech, either they don't have time to develop because once they start to do, the kid gets a bigger bag and leaves, or the continuity and cohesiveness amongst the staff is gone. So you don't have development. And it's like, well, this is why I get infuriated when I hear we got to get more money to pay for the kids that need to be paid. I'm like, it doesn't work that way, right? No. It doesn't. Listen, the truth of the matter is you do need more money. More money does get you a better pool of talent. But again, if it was that simple, the schools that pay a lot of money would be winning national championships. I think we don't look at the development process enough. And the quarterback piece in college football is essential. You got to have a quarterback. This is why every week there's a lot of attention and conversation about drones.
That's right.
Well, it's like, hey guys, have you watched the O-line? Have you watched receivers drop balls? Have you watched the play calling against, other teams? How about when they were at Wake Forest? They were hosting Wake Forest. They're on the 1 yard line, and Green gets an egregious penalty, moves them out of a 4th and 1 situation, right? These are small things that aren't just on drones, but because quarterback gets the most attention, it will always be about the quarterback, and that's why a lot of teams have struggled. This is why everybody criticized Texas with Manning, because it's like, well, he's a Manning. He's also a kid. He's not, I don't think people remember, because we're going long ago, Peyton Manning did not walk into Tennessee.
No.
And as I know this because we're the same year, I was in the stands as a redshirt in the Gator Bowl when Tennessee was rotating quarterbacks, and he wasn't really looking like the guy. And there was rumors that he was going to transfer. But of course, here comes Virginia Tech. Our offensive coordinator was going Gary Trinkle. We lost the 94 Gator Bowl, 45-23. Peyton Manning had a coming out party, and then the rest is history. But he never won a national championship. And there were people that thought that, oh, man, he's not the guy. And then a year after he leaves, T. Martin comes in, and they win it, right? So was T. Martin better than Peyton Manning? No. It just meant that the situation was better suited for him to win one. So I came in hot, Rick. I didn't even wait for the pleasure.
No, that's good.
Good morning. Good morning.
I love it when you come in hot.
Yes, good morning.
Dwight Vick joining us on the program. Well, the parallels of the Florida schools, it's very interesting. It's not about resources. It is about culture. Culture is, that word gets thrown around a lot, man, but it's the only thing that makes sense. And, you know, what is it about Florida kids? Maybe they are going to other places. Maybe I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see who's able to pull out of this first. Miami's the same boat. You're always right about Miami. Carson Beck, that guy's he had to have destroyed his draft capital, throwing everybody under the bus. Like, he's just, it's just a terrible look, man, what he said this week. Just terrible.
This is why I say development is key, because I think Bill had a great point about Florida State with Boston College quarterback.
Yeah.
So Florida State was looking like they were going to play for a national championship, and they went down to Charlottesville on that Friday night. And then I forgot this, the announcers were like, well, Jim, BC's quarterback's never beaten UVA. And I forgot it was BC's quarterback. He played there at BC, and he had a decent game, but he threw some picks and didn't play well against them when he was at Boston College. The truth of the matter is sometimes change is needed. Sometimes the player goes somewhere else, gets a fresh start, or he gets to hit the reset button. But ultimately, there's something to be said about some guys that fit your system, but also fit your culture and understand what it means to be a fill in the blank. So there's still, even in the modern day, there's still guys that are just Virginia Tech guys. There's still guys that are just a William and Mary guy, or an ODU guy, or a Tennessee guy, right? I still think that is still the case. I think when you have a revolving door and you treat your college football program like a hotel, I think sometimes people are going to make sure the room is clean when they leave, and some people are going to leave in ramshack.
Right.
And I think sometimes you bring the wrong person, and it can, really mess things up. I'm one of, you and I are movie guys, and Remember the Titans is based on a true story. It's a great movie, but everything can't be Coach Boone coming in and everybody coming together. That is not as easy it is. Like, people just can't come into a situation and just everybody come in and make it work. UVA has been able to do that this year.
Yeah, they're exception. Yeah.
But still, that can't be the norm for Elliott moving forward, because you lucked up. You got a great quarterback who's banged up, by the way, and you got some pieces that fit perfectly. But other schools have tried that. Florida State this year did the same thing. They did it last year as well, and they went 2-10. Virginia Tech's done some of that, and they left some players that they didn't get, like primarily, specifically offensive line, that I feel like has hurt them. And this is why I said, when I'm being asked who should the next coach be, I keep saying you need a very good coach. You don't need someone to come in and like just bring all these gifts and gadgets and win the press conference. You need a guy that can come in and really control the culture, the environment, and my favorite word of this year, accountability, right? So it's just it's a tough time. I'm gonna be honest with you and your listeners and the people in the chat. I'm gonna tell you this, man. I'm very transparent with you. I'm an open book. It is very difficult right now for me to be a fan of college sports. College sports has always been my favorite over the NFL and NBA. I love the NFL and I love the NBA. I love MLB playoff time. But we always knew free agency was a thing, right? But I look at my friends, speaking of pro sports, that are Raiders fans, Jets fans, and fans of Carolina. I know Carolina's 5-4. But I look at people like the Jets. The Jets have been rebuilding since I had hair. Right? They have been so, like, imagine how patient and committed you have to be to a dysfunctional franchise. This is how bad the Jets are. The Jets are winless, right? And the Patriots are playoff bound right now.
Yeah, Drake
So
May. Yeah,
they found a guy in May. They lost the GOAT, and they're back on top in the division along with Buffalo. So with Virginia Tech and schools like it with basketball in college, the reason why it's tough. I was doing the interview at on site at Velocity Wings in Haymarket, right? And I was talking to the owner of the restaurant. He was like, "Man, I grew up a diehard UNC basketball fan. The game was on because it was a sports bar." And I said, "Oh, really?" And he was like, "I barely watch them now." I said, "Why?" He said, "I don't know who's on the team."
Yeah, sure.
No,
it is.
Yeah,
it is
it's tough.
No, it's a different feel. College basketball is a much different feel. It's a much different feel down where we are. Everywhere it's the same because of NIL and how things are put together. You're right. Being a fan of it is very difficult now. And I don't believe it's going to get any better anytime soon, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question because I don't think I've asked you directly. So, obviously the buzz is James Franklin. Everybody's got a different story about what's happening. Why do you think a place like Penn State, now he had them in the national playoff last year, so they were national contenders. We're not talking about he couldn't get them to a certain level. I know he lost some big games. All right. People wanted to highlight that. But this is what I try to caution every Tech fan about, talking about fits. Why, in your opinion, does a place like Penn State, they let him have 2 bad games where the team supposedly quit on him? We got a little insight from Bill, finally, that I think leads to it. But they willingly, DV, said, "You know what? You got us to the playoff last year. I know you're $50 million." They had that money raised the next day. Why do you think that happened so quickly if this guy's going to come to Blacksburg and be the savior?
Well, what did Bill say before I give my answer? What did he say?
He gave us a little insight. Some of the players have been chirping about Franklin, the team, talking about he's lost us. This guy was very disingenuous. The quote Bill just said was the players are saying he wasn't on board like we were on board. And I think that, to me, has changed my whole mindset about James Franklin. You do not want him in Blacksburg. If that is what the players up there are now saying, they're getting paid a lot more money than Tech players are getting paid.
Yeah, so I thought that, and there's a couple of players on that team who I know personally, and I really want to reach out, but I'm not going to, because I'm not an investigative reporter, and it is what it is. So I want that young man who's like family to me. He plays there. He starts to focus on his college career and his academics. Because change is not easy when you're a football player or basketball player, whatever sports you play. When your head coach, this is a kid that transferred there after leaving another university and lost their coach. So he's lost 2 coaches in 3 years. The truth of the matter is, I think there's a lot of truth to that. I am not. Here's the thing. It's so funny. I was wondering. I knew we talk a lot, you and I, outside of your show.
Yeah, exactly.
I was wondering if this is going to come up because I had tweeted in my group chat with the Boundary Corner guys and a few other guys, and even my one with a bunch of former players from Virginia Tech. I said at this point, I'm okay with getting, and I've been okay with getting the guys from JMU or the guy from Memphis or whatever. I know people like no more Memphis guys, but that guy's not a Fuente guy. No. My thing is, I just want a very good qualified coach. I feel like right now, Virginia Tech fans that really want him are desperate. And when you become desperate and impatient, you make a bad choice. I think your analogy about Teen Wolf was spot on. I was listening to you in my car because I'm a movie guy.
I know you get it. Yeah.
And I said, man, you're right. And Booth was right there in front of Michael J. Fox, and she was better looking, in my opinion, than
absolutely, 100%.
And he kept trying to how many times do we see that? Like, you're chasing her, and the answer's right here in front of you, right?
And she's always there for him, right?
I think the money was raised, and I think bottom line is these decisions don't happen during the season. I think they happen going into the season. And there's conversations all the time. I don't know precisely what happened at Penn State, but I feel like it just, you wore out your welcome. I don't think it was just about the big games.
I do too.
I think it was more so sometimes you can lose yourself. You're seeing it with Dabo. You're seeing it with other coaches. Every time I look, he's talking about scriptures and how I won a lot of games here. Meanwhile, you're losing not blowout, but big games to Duke at home, where you guys are losing and giving up almost 50 points. Nobody cares. This is a what have you done for me lately business. Nobody cares about your resume and your history. And I was telling my wife the other day, I said, a lot of these guys have egos, and many of these coaches available are flawed. And I think people are consumed with the name. I mean, because here's the thing. The reason why I have basically made it known that I'm not really pressed on getting Franklin, I was never pressed, but it's because I feel like the guy Sexton and everybody involved, whether it's leverage or just trying to get the buzz going, I think it's nonsensical. I think you find a guy that wants to be the head coach of Virginia Tech. I don't care if the fans is a continuously saying, who's this guy? I feel like I keep looking up at the standings in the playoffs, and I look at Indiana, Georgia Tech, UVA, I look at JMU, and I'm like, they are winning. They have what we want, and we're looking for a name. We're looking for something that might not be a good fit. I feel like when you lose a lot of one-score games and you lose the games and Virginia Tech's losing, it's not really about talent. It's not really about you're not good enough. It's more so about getting the team in the right direction and getting them to learn how to finish, learn how to win, have a true program, a sense of understanding of who they are. I think Virginia Tech's had so much change right now, it's tough to really define what kind of football program they are. And you need a coach to come in. And you made a great point, which you and I have talked about. I've said this even when I haven't talked to you. If JMU came into Blacksburg right now, they would beat Tech by 2 touchdowns. I don't care. And it pains me to say that because JMU has one win against us historically. And they've been saying they're the better program for decades now because we don't play them regularly. But they've come up. They went to UVA last year and beat them at UVA, took over their trap, came in there with their fans and won the game. They are the best football program in Virginia right now. We, for decades, were the flagship program of the state and was the best program. But when Pry said we were the flagship program, we were the best team, I think it was too much talk and not enough substance. I mean, I remember him saying, you can Google it, he said that, right, at the ACC Media Day 2 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, based on history, but right now, what have you done for me lately? What have you done for your fan base? What have you done for your program? So Franklin, man, I don't know, man. Like, to me, this is the perfect timing for him to sign. It's a bye week, off week. But I'm just over it, man. Like, I'm actually, for the first time in a long time, I'm glad. Gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm glad the season's almost over.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm so over, seeing people hashtag Franklin to VT. I'm tired of the chasing and the tweets and the trolling and the breaking news. He signed a deal, that $3 million off. I'm over it. And I know this is how business works, but I don't think this is about business. I think a lot of this is about ego. And ego is why Virginia Tech's in this mess they are in now.
Yeah. And you said that from day one. You said that since we got back doing the show here on YouTube. And it's I think it's the most accurate statement that's really kind of been made.
I think ego from Pry, Fuente, everybody, ADs, administrators in Merriman, I feel like people forgot what their job was, what you're here to do. You are here to make sure the fans and the student body get an excellent experience on game day. You're here to support the players academically, athletically. You're here to make sure all the resources available. It's not about you. It's not about you embezzling money, lying. It's not about you getting your friends in. It's not about you hiring your people or being loyal to a player who's not getting it done. It's about giving the program the best possible situation, not only to win, but to create legacy. And this has been nonsensical. It's been selfish. It's been misdirected, misguided, and misused. It's been awful. I mean, we are a losing program over the last several years. That's the harsh reality. I don't want to hear about my day and the golden era because other programs have been able to hit the reset button. And we are sitting here, and I know, and I'll say this, I've gone on record. Virginia Tech is not that far away from being a winning program.
No.
You have this many close losses. You already have the fan base. You have the facilities. Mason has said that it's a perfect storm for somebody to come in. And look, I brought some props. We need somebody to come in here and cook this thing right. I need somebody to come in here and cook. I got my spoon, my measuring cup. I'm ready. We got to come cook. We need somebody to come cook, man. But we got too many people coming in. They don't know how much flour to put in here. They don't know how to measure it. We've had guys that when I left to go check something, they came in here and put some stuff in. There's too much salt in here.
Too many chefs in the kitchen, right? That's the old saying. You only need one.
Can cook. You know what I'm saying? So look, at the end of the day, that's been the problem. Too many cooks in the kitchen, too many people with selfish hidden agendas. And I'm not trying to say it was perfection when Beamer and Dave Brain and God rest his soul, Jim Weaver were there. But I think Jim Weaver, a Penn State guy, he came in my red shirt junior year, and he was a new AD, and he told us, he said, gentlemen, you've done a good job here. I'm paraphrasing, but I remember it like yesterday. He said, but you're not ready to win a national championship. You guys are behind. The facilities are behind. We have a lot of work to do. Jim Weaver got the Merriman Center and all that built. I was there for that. The new locker rooms, all of that. The weight room was antiquated, outdated. He held everyone accountable. And 2 years after that, they played for a national championship, and they also became a national prominent team because of accountability. And he had his agenda that was Virginia Tech's agenda and matched. And I think since then, it's been hot or cold. Like I mentioned cooking. It's been too much seasoning, not enough seasoning. It's been too many people playing with the food or leaving it out too long. And some of the side dishes have spoiled. And some stuff you're trying to reheat and it doesn't work because you can't reheat certain foods and it doesn't taste good. And you're trying as a fan to tell yourself, well, maybe if we just cook it a little longer. Now it's burnt. You get my analogy?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're burning too much food. Sorry if y'all watched it if you haven't eaten yet. I don't mean to.
Yeah, now I'm pretty hungry. You stir that pot, I'm like, wow, I'm gonna have to go use some meat.
We gotta get listen, here it is again. We gotta get the right cook. You know, we gotta get but here's the thing. If they announce today at 1:00 or Friday is Franklin, just like Pry, just like Fuente, I'm going to pray for his success. And I want him to do well. But right now, sometimes the answer's right in front of you. And I said it to you when you did your Saturday Night Live, this is the most important hire in Virginia Tech athletic history.
Absolutely.
Absolutely it is. So at the end of the day, you got to get this right, not because it's about what you want, but it's about what Virginia Tech needs. Right? So,
yes.
You know, again, don't let your ego blind your judgment, and don't be so desperate that you bring in a guy that makes this situation worse. In a few years, they're going to realign. They're going to have the super conferences.
Yep.
Virginia Tech has everything a conference wants, but the wins right now. But I know it's not about just winning. It's about revenue. It's about your location, your TV network, how many people you bring. I mean, I'm looking at SMU and again, other schools where I'm like, man, if we could just get right there. So again, it's not that complicated, but we need the right cook in the kitchen. And, the truth of the matter is, man, I just hope they get a deal done with the right guy. But I think the last point I'll say on it, timing is everything, because timing is a situation where with the shorter window, with the transfer portal, with a lot of talent on this team, the linebackers, Caleb Spencer, the kid Noah, Caleb Woodson. I'm talking more young guys, though. Some of the guys, Takai Heath, shout out to him from Holland Springs, Lauren Johnson's youngest son, Peanut. We have the guys there. There's a contingency of talent there that if you can retain it, and even maybe a position coach or two, you can really do some good things moving forward. You're not that far off regarding getting them into the 9-10 win threshold, but the right guy has to be at the helm.
No, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. And no pun intended. Food for thought. Get it?
Virtual high five. That was a good one.
Sorry. Well, enjoy your weekend. You and I may be talking. We'll see how things go, man. But good stuff as always.
The show. Great show. Hey, subscribe to this channel. every week. This is the best. If you want Virginia Tech and Radford, and listen, this is it. Shameless plug. This is my guy, Rick.
I appreciate you, bro.
Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Appreciate
chat's
y'all.
great. Chat's great. I appreciate you, man. Means a lot, brother. Means a lot.
Yes,
wouldn't think of doing the show without you. So
absolutely.
There's
All
that.
right, boss.
Yeah. All right, man. Take care. Great stuff from Dwight. And that's gonna just about do it from us. He brought props, man. He brought props. Thanks to all of our sponsors, the Ready Set Fund. Go to ReadySetFund.com. Check them out. You want to raise money for your local team. Professional Door Incorporated up in Dublin, 38 years in business. Travis Williams, walk in. They need workers. $20 an hour. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST. I've been with them for 35 years. The attorney, Ryan Pry, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. Question of the week. We're going to have to get into that first hour tomorrow. Things have changed. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. 540-553-2971. We're presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment each and every day. Congratulations on the announcement opening up the racetrack, Pulaski County, next spring. Awesome. Mark Hundley, McClelland Chiropractic. Go see him right off of Pepper Spray Road, sponsor of our chat room that's just absolutely exploded even more every week thanks to them. Family Fencing, they're going to build fences through the winter. Call Jason Green, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. Want to thank the NRV Super Bowl, Lawson's Motor Home Supply. Whom else am I leaving out? My goodness gracious. Thanks to Montgomery County Chamber. Thanks to Harvey's GM. Go buy your next vehicle there. Tomorrow, Will Stewart, Mike Ashley scheduled to join us. Yeah, I'm hungry too now, Paul. Jen the Gamecock girl with their picks. Take care, everybody. Great show today. Thanks to all of our guests, Andy Bitter, Bill Roth, Dwight Vick. We'll see you tomorrow on the finally Friday edition.